Howdy, it's Kyle talking about how the city in which I live, Chattanooga, Tennessee, was recently chosen to be the first national park city in North America. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what the National Park City Organization is, what they do, and why Chattanooga was chosen to be the first city like this in North America. And I want to first state that it has nothing to do with the National Park Service in the U.S. This is an international organization that's called the National Park City Group. So in countries that have national parks, it can be a little confusing. So I'll get into that a little as well. But I do want to talk about what the National Park City Organization is and why Chattanooga was chosen for it. So what is the National Park City Foundation? It's a nonprofit group headquartered in London, England, and the first national park city was in fact London. And I'm going to leave a screenshot of their charter here. It's all kind of vague in the charter, and I'll go over more stuff about this toward the end after I talk about Chattanooga, but it is a group of people that want to improve city life, want to improve a nature-urban balance, and different things with species habitats, bats, butterflies, bees, kind of stuff, air and water quality. So good stuff like that. So they've chosen cities to provide grant money to improve some of these things that are part of their charter and just some of their things that are part of their mission statement. So this is what the National Park City Foundation is, and I'll talk about again more of the details of it and how Chattanooga ties into that. But now I want to go over a little bit about Chattanooga itself. Okay, so Chattanooga, Tennessee is more or less at the tri-state point of Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. The south end city limit is the state line with Georgia, so that's where we're located. Alabama is just off to the west here. So this is the city in the white, the urban areas, typical Google Maps kind of stuff. So downtown, this is the Tennessee River. The river goes through the heart of the city. Both sides of the river are city of Chattanooga. And so I'm going to start right here, downtown with Coolidge Park. This is the main kind of urban park that's been manicured. The closest thing to a Central Park type thing here, but of course the city is much smaller, so nowhere near as big as Central Park. Pretty nice spot, some open space, some splash things for kids, and an old carousel and a hill for sledding down in cardboard boxes and snow for the 2 days of the year it snows. But one thing that's really cool about parks here is this, McClellan Island. This is right in the middle of the river. You can see here there's a nice walking bridge that connects the south end to the north end of the river, and you can see the island as you go over the bridge. And that's one thing that's really cool about the walking bridge we have here. And even though this is the National Park City Organization, it isn't just about the actual green space, but the whole, again, nature kind of urban balance and just having things that are more urbanist, including, I think, this really cool walking bridge is really nice to have. So these are nice parks right in the heart of downtown. So this island you can paddle to it, and it's, again, right in the heart of the city. You can see the aquarium right there. And this bridge that goes over it has no access to the island. So you have to get there by paddling. I suppose if you're a really good swimmer, you could do it, but I mean, I wouldn't do that. But north of downtown, so we're still kind of downtown right here, and just north where it says Hill City, you see something called Stringer's Ridge Park. And this is another really nice spot to have right in the heart of the city. We're just north of downtown, not even a mile, just off the main, it's not an interstate, but the freeway that goes through there. And this has got several miles of walking and hiking trails there. You can see the dotted lines to denote the paths. And it's really nice wooded spot, and it's on a ridge, so Stringer's Ridge. And while I moved here, there was talk of making this a development, houses and stuff. So they decided not to do that. Made it a park, and it's got some really nice hiking trails and things there. So that's another really nice spot to have right in the heart of the city. And then you go other spots. You got way out here, got something called Greenway Farms and TVA Big Ridge. And this is another really nice spot to have. So this is a little more manicured here, this Greenway Farms. I'm not 100% sure, but when you go there, it really seems like this might have been housing a long time ago, maybe 100 years ago, and then got flooded, and now it's just a park that's floodplain protection, essentially. That's kind of how it feels, like there might have been housing or something there at some point. Anyway, so it's a little more manicured, big open lawn, but again, miles of hiking trail here. There's a quarry that goes by. The hiking trails go by. Another good spot for paddling. So that's one thing about Chattanooga, is there's not just a large number of parks, it's also the variety of things. So whether you're hiking, mountain biking, or caving, or paddling. There's always, different things for different, what your preferences are in terms of outdoor activities. Another one out here called Chester Frost Park. Another really nice spot. This one's much more campground oriented, RVs. It's not a great spot for hiking, but it's nice to have this spot sitting out there, sticking out there on the river, which is actually a lake at this point because it's dammed up. Another nice park. And then you go over here, North Chickamauga Creek Gorge State Park. Again, just a few miles north of downtown. This is not in the city limits, but it's a really nice. It used to be called the North Chickamauga Pocket Wilderness. So you might still hear it referred to as that. And that's exactly what it is. It's a pocket wilderness. Miles of hiking trails, waterfalls. In the summer, there's a blue hole there. And again, just a few miles north of downtown. A few miles northwest of downtown is Prentice Cooper State Forest. I mean, again, another large area outside of the city limits. Lots of trailheads, lots of hiking there. One of the most famous spots for viewpoints in Chattanooga is from a top of a ridge here. Again, just another spot right, not quite in the city, but very, very close. When you get to the southwest end of the city, you got Raccoon Mountain. This is a mountain right at the south. It's actually a ridge, but you have a really big spot for mountain biking. So this city is really big for mountain biking, and Raccoon Mountain is one of the top spots for it. And then also right here, you have Raccoon Mountain Cave, big cave. Chattanooga is arguably the caving capital of the world. A lot of limestone, a lot of caves within 1 hour distance of here. I used to work at Raccoon Mountain Caverns up to about 10 years ago. I was a wild cave guide, taking folks through the deeper parts of the cave. So I go on to the website to get a screenshot to show for this video, and what do I see? They haven't taken my picture down. I haven't worked there since 2016. Then one more major park, Enterprise South. This is the biggest one, but it's also the least scenic. I mean, it's scenic, but it's the least interesting, wilderness-ish. But what it is, it's really cool to have, because this was going to be just turned into one giant factory, airport extension, all kinds of other things. Volkswagen bought a big chunk of it and said, we're only going to come to Chattanooga if you make the rest of it a park. So that's what it is. It's a huge area for mountain bike trails and all kinds of things, outdoor hiking. And again, mountain bike is probably the main thing this area is known for. So a lot of great parks this is just the city of Chattanooga itself. When you go southwest, you get to Cloudland Canyon State Park in Georgia. That doesn't have anything to do with the national park city thing for Chattanooga, but this is why you've gotten this, Chattanooga being recognized as the national park city, the first one in the U.S. Now, many of the western cities in the country have all of these things I mentioned, but I think a big difference here is it's, again, the variety. So there's hiking, mountain biking, rock climbing, caving, flat water paddling, whitewater paddling, all within a half an hour to maybe an hour of here, depending on what part of town you live in. So I can see why Chattanooga was chosen as the first one for this, but there's more to it than just, again, the green space and parks. So let's talk about some of the other things about Chattanooga that I don't think really go well with this whole National Park City Foundation thing. So Chattanooga does have a lot of beautiful parks and green space, but it's also a pretty bad city in terms of urbanism type things. So it's a great city for hiking, but it's a terrible city for just regular old pedestrians. Just really difficult to cover much distance here walking. There aren't sidewalks throughout most of the city, and unless you're in the heart of the downtown or right near there where there are sidewalks, most of the rest of town you're walking on dirt or in a gutter or something. There's just nowhere to actually walk. It's a terrible city for pedestrians. And although the city really does tout its greatness for mountain biking, it's terrible for street cycling. There's really nothing set aside that makes it easy to get around on a bike. I'd be scared to get around this town on bike. This is not a good town for walking or for cycling. It also has a terrible bus network. You're not getting anywhere in this town using public transit. There's a very limited bus network, a very limited number of buses, and they don't go to very many parts of the city. Being located in the Tennessee Valley means we're going to have pretty bad air quality anyway, but being so car-centric makes it even worse. So again, I do think Chattanooga has the green space and the park stuff down, but not so much the urbanist stuff. And part of the National Park Foundation is both of those. So maybe there's going to be funding as part of this program to help with some of the urbanist stuff with the city. So what exactly does that mean that Chattanooga is a national park city? And to put it bluntly, it doesn't really mean much of anything. I go on their website and it all seems very vague. It's very nice what they're saying. We want to engage in communities to improve the quality of life of people living in cities, make it more nature oriented and nature balanced. And, okay, that sounds great. How are you going to do that? By talking to community leaders and going through this motion and talking about what we need. Well, okay, well, what does that mean? So it's kind of like that saying, you're talking a lot but not saying anything. And I get the impression that this national park organization is talking a lot but not saying a whole lot. So if you go on their website, it's just vague after vague after vague. So we'll have to see. I get the impression that it's almost funded by one or multiple philanthropists, and it's just kind of what are they doing with the money? They've chosen these places. I don't really know. Again, it's all so very vague, but with respect to Chattanooga, again, I can see why they would have chosen this one in the U.S., but what does it mean? I don't know. How much money is going to come in here, and what would the money be for? It's not a government organization where you submit a plan and a proposal and maybe they'll fund it, maybe they won't. Everything is just so vague. So say we get $1 million to improve bike paths or a bee sanctuary or whatever it is, but there's no details, nothing specific, just congratulations, you're America's first national park city, and things will come eventually. And go to our website where it's vague, but it's cool to be at least recognized, because I've lived here for 17, 18 years. And although I think the urban aspect of the city is just it's just kind of okay. What makes a city something that's maybe above average would be all of these parks right around here. And that's a big part of the city. And they always talk about that. And they bring up, with the mayor's talking about the city or just kind of talking things up, it's always about the outdoors and how wonderful the city is for those things. So it's nice to be appreciated for those things. But the urbanist side is kind of So if you're not really into the outdoors and hiking and mountain biking kind of things, and Chattanooga is pretty average type place. But hopefully, if there is ever some money or whatever it is to come with this national park organization thing, maybe there can be some improvements. Maybe things can get better for pedestrians, for cyclists. How about a sidewalk? How about just our freaking sidewalk on some of the streets we can walk, not on the dirt? But anyway, so that's kind of what I want to go over, just how Chattanooga was chosen by this organization that, what are they? Who knows? But it seems like it's all in the right place in terms of their head. Is the money there? I don't know. But, it is pretty cool to be recognized as the National Park City, and the first one for North America. So that was my look at the National Park City organization and why Chattanooga was chosen to be part of it. And we'll have to see in the future if really much of anything comes of this, if funding really comes, and if projects are completed that go along with the mission statement of this organization. But I think there's a potential for it to be pretty cool if really much of anything comes out of it at all. But if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up to let me know you approve, and subscribe to this channel if you're interested in learning more about geography from a nerd. But yeah, thanks for watching. Geography King signing out. I'd like to give a special thanks to my superior patrons for their support. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description. As always, thank you very much.